Good morning. My name is Abby Moore, and I'm a member of the Oak Ridge Unitarian Universalist Church. I'd like to welcome everyone to the service today, especially those of you who are here for the first time or back for the first time in a long time. If that sounds like you, I hope you'll consider doing three things. First, please find the link in the chat box that asks for your contact information. Fill it out, and we can keep in touch. Second, please join the ORUUC Facebook group if you are on Facebook. And third, please consider staying around afterward for the newcomer session that we call Inquires. It happens in this same Zoom room, so you can just sit tight and connect with other newcomers after the service. Every week for years, our congregation has sent half of the weekly offering out the door into the community. This month of August, our Split the Plate recipient is the Blossom Center for Childhood Excellence, which provides extended day childcare to families who work long hours. Thank you for their support. Now let us join together for worship.
The spiritual part of ourselves is a divine abyss. It is a dimension not touched by words, thoughts, feelings. Our bodies were made for perceiving the world's beauty, a flower, a kiss, a vibrant green hillside, a newborn baby. And yet all the art in the world cannot capture exactly what it feels like to experience the divine nature of these things. As humans, our path is to both savor what the senses can take in and wonder at the unfathomable depths of even a single atom.
The beauty of the earth, for the glory of the skies, for the love
It is our custom to light a chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, as we meet together in worship. Hear these words from Annie Dillard as we light this flame for our coming together. We are here to abet creation and to witness to it, to notice each other's beautiful face and complex nature, so that creation need not play to an empty house.
Good morning. This morning we're going to be talking about abyss, mystery, and wonder, and I can't think of a song that celebrates mystery more than our opening hymn, Gathered Here. Will you join me in singing?
Today, as we explore how we are connected in and by the spirit of mystery and wonder, I invite you to use this time to share whatever it is you bring to us this day, be it joy or sorrow or anything else in between. Wherever you are, whatever you are, let us be beguiled by your beauty during this altar building time. You can do this in 3 ways. Light a candle at home and hold it up to the screen. Put 1 word in the chat box that represents your prayer, hope, or concern for today, or send an email for prayer requests to be included in the prayers of the community to oruuc.communityprayers@gmail.com.
When you're tired and feel you can't get through, uncertainty comes over you, just look around. When your problems seem too much to bear, And sure, if there's someone who cares, just look around.
Whether stranger, neighbor, family, or friend, on each other in tough times we can depend. Look around, kindness, love is ours to share. We can see it everywhere. Though it might seem like forever, look around. Even in our darkest night, things are gonna be alright. We'll get through this together. Just look around.
Sometimes it can be hard to see. Life is full of possibilities, so look around. Each new day is such a gift. Embrace it and the life you live, and look around.
Outstretched arms and many helping hands. Don't give up on all your dreams and all your plans. Look around, kindness, love is ours to share. We can see it everywhere. Though it might seem like forever, look around. For even in our darkest night, things are gonna be alright. We'll get through this together. Just look around.
I invite you now into a time of hearing and holding the prayers of our community. I want you to begin by getting in touch with where you are seated. Feel the support beneath your feet. Feel the chair or the seat that is holding you. Let your gaze soften, if you will, or close your eyes and go inward. Let your breath help you do this by paying attention. Breathing in, breathe in peace, and breathing out, breathe out all that you need to let go of. Peace in, what is not wanted or needed out. Just follow that breath and let your body feel heavy and at ease as we come into this time of inward focus in the holding of our community. O Spirit of life that dwells within us and moves among us and beckons beyond us, we ask for your presence. We ask that we, in this time, that we are separated physically, that we come to a place where we can feel and know that we are part of a community, part of a larger whole, and we are here for each other this day. We have one who writes, a dear friend's father, Floyd Higgins, age 92, is now in hospice care in Portland, Oregon, receiving morphine. His family needs prayer as their beloved father's organs fail and he is in his final days. O Spirit, please be with this family as they say their goodbyes to their dear, beloved patriarch. And be pleased with all of us, touched this day by the deep grief of having lost a loved one, and all of us who are holding in care someone whose life is coming to an end. Well, Spirit, we know that our days on this lovely planet are numbered, that in the scheme of time, our time is brief. Let us have the courage and the heart to love with all our hearts and to do the work of grieving when it becomes our turn to do so. Let us be there for one another in our times of grief. And let us know that joy and woe are always woven fine. We have one among us who says, after 6 weeks, my sister no longer has COVID. She remains hospitalized for recovering from the effects of the virus, but she is getting stronger. This one is grateful for the support from the ministers and also the prayers and thoughts and care of all of you, of this community. She has shared that care and those prayers with her sister and her sister's family, and they all are sending this day their thanks for the comfort that we have provided. Well, Spirit, we rejoice in this recovery. We give thanks for all who held this dear one, of our dear one, in love and care. Let us make in this moment a commitment to be there for each other in the good times, the celebrations, and in our times of need. That no one must walk alone. Let us hold each other, care for each other, and be there for each other. We give thanks for all that is our life this day, the joy and the sorrow, the fine and beautiful strands with which our lives are woven. Hold us and keep us strong. May it be so.
Don't lose faith, keep hope alive, 'cause together we'll get to the other side. When you feel weak, I'll be strong and remind you that you're never alone.
Look around,
Kindness, love is ours to share. We can see it everywhere. Though it might seem like forever, look around. For even in our darkest night, things are gonna be alright. We'll get through this together. Just look around. Look around.
this together.
Just look around.
Good morning. I'm Liz McGahee, a member of the Oak Ridge Unitarian Universalist Church. This month, we are splitting the offering plate with the Blossom Center for Childhood Excellence. We thank you for your generosity and your gifts to children, to parents, and to the wider world. Thank you for the gifts you have so generously shared this morning. What a blessing you are, and what a blessing is the good work that your resources will provide in our community. In the days ahead, may your generosity and love touch all who you encounter.
Rooted in love, we covenant.
together in peace, to face conflict with compassion, to see strength in diversity, to share laughter and tears, to honor the profound in each of us. With purpose and passion, we care for one another and grow together, rooted in love.
At the dawn of time, the first woman and the first man set up their home together by the side of the great broad river. They had everything they needed for a blissful life: fruit, berries, meat and fish, plenty of fresh water and wood, and of course, each other. They lived as happily as any man and woman have ever lived together, until their first quarrel. It started with a small thing. First man says, "Why didn't you cook this?" And then first woman said, "Why didn't you bring wood for the fire?" Pretty soon it got worse, with first man saying, "Why didn't you tidy that?" And first woman saying, "Why are you so messy?" Pretty soon, both the insults and a few wooden plates and bowls began to fly. The first woman was so upset that she decided to leave the first man. At the break of day, while he was asleep, she set off down the valley, heading towards the rising sun. She walked and walked, always looking straight ahead of her. When first man woke up and saw she was gone, he waited for her to come back. But she did not come back. He found her tracks along the valley, but she had a head start on him, as she did not stop or look around. Now the Great Spirit began to notice first man's struggle. It saw that there was a sadness on the face of the first man. The Great Spirit asked him if he was still angry with his wife. He said that he was not angry with her. The Great Spirit asked if he would like to have her back, and he said he would like to have her back. And the Great Spirit took pity on him and decided to help him. So along first woman's path, he created a beautiful tree with lots of wonderful fruit. The fruit was so shiny and enticing, but as she passed, her eyes remained fixed on the distance, and she did not even see the fruit. Undetoured, the Great Spirit to try again. So he left a pack of beautiful, beautiful, succulent blackberries. But once again, first woman was so upset, she refused to even look at the blackberries. Now the Great Spirit decided it was time to do something entirely different. So he created an entirely new, succulent red berry. The sweet scent filled the woman's senses, and her mood became lighter. She began to look around, and she decided to pick one and even try it. She tasted the strawberry on her tongue, and she began to remember the happiness she knew when she first set up home with her husband. She looked at the half-eaten strawberry, and she no longer felt the pressing desire to leave him. She sat on the ground and wondered what she must do. By the time she had eaten a few more strawberries, the first man found her and sat quietly down beside her and smiled. And she gave him a strawberry to eat. Then they both realized how much they cared for one another and walked back home together, taking a few strawberry plants with them, so they would never forget this lesson.
Beneath our arms we shelter you. You warm our hearts as you pass through. May God guide you as you go, to help you learn and help you grow.
Let us each prepare ourselves now for Lectio Divina, the ancient practice of reflecting on texts by savoring them as if they were sweet strawberries. I invite you to listen to what Liz McGahee reads for us, something from Hafiz. Listen with awareness. Notice what is going on inside you. What words or phrases especially resonate? Perhaps something calls to you. You might want to write those words down where you can savor them this week. Repeat them to yourself and wonder, how do these words speak to my life?
Cloak yourself in 1,000 ways. Still shall I know you, my beloved. Veil yourself with every enchantment, and yet I shall feel you, presence most dear, close, and intimate. I shall salute you in the springing of cypresses, and in the sheen of lakes, the laughter of fountains. I shall surely see you in tumbling clouds, in brightly embroidered meadows. O beloved presence, more beautiful than all the stars together. I trace your face in ivy that climbs, in clusters of grapes, in morning flaming the mountains, in the clear arch of sky. You gladden the whole earth and make every heart great. You are the breathing of the world.
I want to thank Gina Grubb and Liz McGahee for that beautiful video and reading of Hafiz. Such incredible beauty. We humans, as far as we know, We're the only creatures who get to live in such beauty with awareness, with being the witnesses of it, as Annie Dillard says. We're the ones who get to respond with delight and amazement and deep gratitude. We're the ones who go out and try to capture this beauty in photos and paintings and music. We're the ones who wonder, how did this all come to be? And we argue about how it all came to be sometimes. Is there a divine presence cloaking itself in 1,000 ways, as Hafiz says? Well, for Unitarian Universalists, some of us would say no. The beauty itself is enough. And some of us would say, maybe yes, maybe no. It's a great mystery. Some of us are comfortable right there in the mystery. And some of us would say, yes, there is a divine presence. But we have many names for that. Mother Earth, Spirit of Life, God, Great Love, Holy Oneness of all. Why, even in the same religion, there are many names, the 99 names of Allah. But Hinduism has us all beat. In Hinduism, there is a creator God, Brahma. But he is one of 33 million gods. So many names we have for the holy. Wendy Farley, the theologian whose work is foundational to this worship series on beauty that we're doing, tells a story about when she was a little girl. It was an exchange she had with her father. He was also a religious professional, and his spiritual life was very central. Well, once Wendy was watching her father's face as he tried to convey what he had recently experienced as a spiritual experience, and she could see the effort that he was taking. So she said to him, "Dad, it must be hard not to be able to find the words." I mean, this was a man of many words, right? But this is what her father said. He said, "Wendy, if I could say what it was in words, it would not be what it is. If I could say what it was in words, it would not be what it is." However we understand all this beautiful physical life that we have come to experience, all this connectedness and deep peace and love, we're really talking about something that cannot be named, something that is beyond words. And so the best we can do is like Hafiz did. We can point to it. If we could say what it was, it would not be what it is. So what interests me, actually, what I really wonder about this is, why do we humans, even when we know the words will not completely convey what we mean, even when we know we'll fall short, we still try to find the words. We work very hard at it. How much of our art and music and painting and sculpture and dance, how much of that has at its core this effort to name that which cannot be named? I mean, why don't we just say, well, you know what? I just had an experience and it just can't be shared. I want to think about the first woman and the first man for a minute. First woman's heart was changed when she ate that strawberry. And we might say it was just so sweet, it sweetened her up. But I don't think so. I think when she ate that strawberry and tasted that inconceivable deliciousness, She had an urge, a need to share it. I mean, she didn't just look around and go, thank God first man isn't here, all the berries for me. No, she began to miss him and to want him to experience the beauty that she experienced. Annie Dillard says we are here to witness to creation. And in that very short reading that Liz read for our chalice lighting, what she says is we are here to notice, well, yes, the beauty out there, but also, what does she say? Each other's beautiful faces and complex natures. The beauty of this world out there compels us toward each other, where we can see each other's beauty. In the core of our human selves, we are relational. We need to share the highs, the strawberries, and the lows, the fights, the grief. We need to share. You know, most often when I ask someone who's new to our church what brought them, there's one word that comes up. Why don't you predict what you think it is? Were you thinking community? That's the word. They're looking for community. As central, as moving as beauty is in our lives, the beauty itself is only half of the equation of our wholeness. We also need to share that experience of beauty. We need to be known deeply and to know others deeply. We need to connect. Now at ORUUC, in our congregation, one of our central ways of knowing each other deeply is circles of trust and other ongoing small groups. I like to think of it this way. The worship service is our regular portion of beauty. And our small groups, our circle of trust, these are our regular portion of relationship. And I don't mean one is completely one and the other is the other. I know we feel connection in worship, and I know we sense awe and beauty in circles of trust. But I think between the two, there is this wholeness of what we need. I want you to listen now to a brief video clip from Michelle Dickin. Michelle participates in a circle of trust. Hear her words now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle Dickin, and I've been a member of the Oak Ridge Universalist Unitarian Church for about 3 years. When I first moved to Tennessee about 12 years ago, I found it difficult to find friends who shared my same values. So when I joined the church, I knew that that would be one of my primary goals. And about 2 years ago, I joined my Circle of Trust. My Circle of Trust has given me the opportunity to really get to know some of my fellow church members on a more personal level, and to dig below the surface and form real connections that have led to some amazing friendships. My group has become so close that we often message each other or meet outside of our standing time to socialize, let our children play, or support each other when faced with life's challenges. My group has become a place of comfort and respite, at first as a break from work, children's activities, and endless family tasks, and in recent months has been a real opportunity for human connection in what has become a time of isolation for most. My circle of trust has become just that, a circle of women that I can rely on and feel comfortable being myself. It's truly been the most rewarding decision that I have made since joining the church.
Well, thanks to Michelle for that. And I just want to reiterate that I think circles of trust are places where we can be real with each other, where we feel safe, not judged, and where we can form deep connections. They're places where we can learn from and with each other. And I'm focusing on circles of trust today because I have seen over and over the differences they have made in people's lives and what they mean to people. I really like that the circles focus on the same monthly theme as our worship services. August has been spiritual practices, and September will be imagination. So circles are opportunities to reflect further on what we've heard and thought about in worship, and vice versa. There's this synchronicity that I think deepens our experiences and our growth and learning. The most important thing, though, about circles of trust, and Ben Morris might disagree with me here, that's a sort of an inside joke, but I'm going to mention that I really think the touchstones, the circle of trust touchstones, which are essentially the covenant among the people in the circle, the agreement of how they will be when they're together, are what makes circles of trust work so well. And that's one of many things, but I want you to hear just a few of those touchstones. See how they resonate with you. 1, be present as fully as possible. Be here with your doubts, fears, failings, convictions, joys, successes, your listening, and your speaking. 2, what is offered here is by invitation, not demand. This is not a share or die event. You do whatever your soul calls for you to do, and know that you do it with the rest of the circle's support. You know your soul better than anyone else. 3, this is some people's hardest one. No fixing, no saving, no advising, no correcting each other. These are necessary limits for making safe space and summoning our inner teacher. This one is my personal favorite. When the going gets rough, turn to wonder. I think that's perfect for our series we're on right now. If you feel judgmental or defensive, turn to wonder. I wonder what brought her to this belief. I wonder how he's feeling right now. I wonder what my reaction teaches me about myself. Set aside judgment to listen to others and to yourself more deeply. One kind of unique thing about circles is this: trust and learn from the silence. Silence is a gift in this noisy world, and it is a way of knowing in itself. Treat silence as a member of the group. Treat silence as a member of the group. And finally, observe deep confidentiality. Nothing said in a circle of trust will ever be repeated, period. Now, the developer of circles of trust, Quaker religious educator Parker Palmer, says that circles are a group experience equivalent of walking into the woods, sitting quietly at the base of a tree, breathing the earth, and waiting for the soul to feel safe enough to put in an appearance. The soul, that trusting and trustworthy part of ourselves, where we get real, and where we open our hearts enough to really be truly touched by the beauty and the pain, where we become not the praiser, but the praise itself, where we experience the holy, whatever we call it or don't call it. Well, when I worked out a plan last winter to move from full-time to half-time ministry in July, I knew that one thing I was keeping was circles of trust. They're just that near and dear to me. But I had no idea at the time that we would be in a pandemic And even when we were, I had no idea that it would be this pandemic with this staying power. So we find ourselves in this time of isolation. And one of the best things I think for us in this time has been that we had our circles of trust. The good news is they work amazingly well on Zoom. Not for everybody, but really they do. And we have now 7 circles meeting on Zoom and 2 that have chosen to go back and meet in person, and a third one that is going to start meeting in person in September, obviously with all the social distancing protocols in place. Now we're going to be starting some new circles of trust. So if you are not one of the 83 ORUUCians at this time participating in circles of trust, this is sign up time. We'll be starting however many new circles we need to meet the needs, to meet the enrollment in September. So I invite you to come on in. Now, if you're the kind of person where you're like, well, I don't know, I got a few questions. Great, that's fine. I love to talk about circles of trust. So just contact me and we can talk. I won't make you walk, I promise. We can just talk if you want. You can reach me through the church office, or you may have my email or phone number. Any way to reach me is fine. If you are ready to sign up right this minute, we're going to make it easy for you. I think Ann Scott's going to put into the chat box a link where you can just punch that, and then there are just a few things for you to answer, and you'll be signed up. I'll get back to you. And if you're not one to rush into things, if you're an introvert and you want to think about it, that's great too. There's a way to sign up on the church website, or you can always contact me. Here's my deep hope. My hope is that circles of trust increasingly become safe and hospitable places at ORUUC, where our souls can show up, where we can share our realities, our stories, the deepest part of ourselves. And not just that, also laugh, some big, deep belly laughs, laugh at ourselves. Don't want you to think it's all serious, even though it's deep. It's funny too, very funny. You know how funny real things can be. But through this sharing, I hope we become even more connected than we already all are. More real, more beautiful, more in touch with beauty, more whole. And that we take what we practice and learn in circles back into our daily lives, into our relationships with others, and into our communities. Circles of trust are a model for the kind of connecting across differences we so desperately need in these times. I want to conclude with the vision of Oglala Lakota elder Black Elk, a reading from our hymn book. There I was standing on the highest mountain of them all, and round beneath me was the whole hoop of the world. And while I stood there, I saw more than I can tell, and I understood more than I saw, for I was seeing in the sacred manner the shape of all things of the Spirit, and the shapes as they must live together like one human being. And I saw that the sacred hoop of my people was there, and that it was one of many hoops, making one circle, wide as daylight and starlight. And in the center grew one tree. And I would add this. This is really the ending, I promise. All of this, the many hoops, the great circle, the flowering tree, let us picture all of that traveling through space on an exquisitely beyond words beautiful blue-green planet, the most beautiful planet, a planet that has been transformed by our care. May it be so. So, you know that part of our service, this series on beauty, is to send you home with some action, something to do during the week, some contemplative practice. So this week's contemplative practice is curiosity. Be curious, wonder. Spend some time exploring a phenomenon you'd like to know more about. What has the Hubble telescope taught us about our universe? Why does this animal species behave in this way? I would say for Peter and me, it's why are there wild turkeys walking around our neighborhood? We had to take a little break and look outside our window, and there were 2 wild turkeys in the front yard. Or you might want to go the route of circle of trust and wonder about relationships. I wonder how he's feeling right now. I wonder what my reaction to this person tells me about myself. Whatever you choose to wonder about, open your heart. Let your mind be free. And you might want to put a note nearby. The more we know, the more we know we don't know. That leads to care of our creation and one another, that wonder and awe.
And now let us add our sing. There we go. And now let us add our singing to the song of mystery and wonder that is already in progress. Our closing hymn is Wake Now My Senses.
Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being all. Deep with the web of creation you're now. Giving grace sleeping as love shows us now. Wake now my feet and reach out to the moon. Join with each pilgrim who quests for the truth. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Suffer thy limit and praise the sublime. Wake now compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor, both stranger and friend. Praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now my conscience, with justice thy guide. Join with all people whose rights are denied. Take not for granted a privileged place. God's all embraces global human race. Wake now my vision, what ministry clear. Brighten my pathway with radiant steer. Mingle my calling with all who will share. Work toward a planet transformed by our care.
Go well into the week now. Go with curiosity. Go with wonder. Be a fool for love and a pilgrim for justice. And until we meet again, May we walk, roll, dance, slither in beloved community. Go in peace.